Hi everybody, Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today. I'm tying another fly from Lefty Kreh's saltwater fly patterns. It's the World Wild Sportsman's Balao fly. If you've got the book, you'll find it on plate 3, page 7. See it there. It's a Balao imitation, obviously, which is kind of like a ballyhoo, similar fish. But it'll work for other things. I mean, we don't have ballyhoo here in Japan, it's been an Atlantic fish, but this works great for the fish that are feeding on sauri, Pacific sauri. It's a fine imitation. It's blue over white. And probably this fly, I mean, if you look at it, the way it's tied, I don't know, but I'd be surprised if flies like the flashy profile and all that weren't sort of influenced by this initially. But anyway, as always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anybody that wants to support the channel. Alternatively, you can watch the video all the way through, like the video, share the video, watch it all the way to the end and leave a comment below. All of that helps the channel to grow. Right, so I've got my hook and my vise. This is a 2.0 Gamakatsu S10 S48. Use whatever you like, really, sort of standard to shortish shank. Strong saltwater hook. Say size 1.0 to 4 or 5.0, depending on the size of bait you're imitating. I'm just running on some white Danville's flat wax nylon, and I'm going to take some silver flashabou here, and I'm going to tie it in just as a wee bit of belly flash, really. And this is the only flash in the pattern. I'll run it and fold it back. So, I mean, I'm putting a fair amount in here. Just trim that, or stagger the ends, right, so that it doesn't clump together. You get a nice wee flashy belly on it. And then, to make it relatively non-fouling, I'm going to take the first bunch of Superhair that I'm going to tie in. In the book it says crimped nylon, so I'm guessing we need to take that as ultra hair or super hair, and a supreme hair. I'm going to tie it, so, look, in the book it says 2.5 inches long, but I would say that would be on a bigger fly. I'm going to tie it quite short, maybe 1.5 inches, so what's that, 35mm. And that's got to be stiff enough that it's going to avoid, it's got to resist tail wrapping, and this, you know, the longer fibres are going to try to flex on that rather than round the hook. It's not 100% foul-proof, but it's surprisingly effective. So I've got that. And I'll just taper this. I just already start to build the taper in the head. And come back. Now my tie-in point, I don't want it to move, right? In the book, in the picture. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. In the book, in the picture, it's sort of they've crept forward. I don't want that. I don't like it. I think it's a kind of, to be honest, a poorly tied version. But anyway, if you keep everything here, it lets you build that vertical shape that you're looking for, and you get a nice taper in the head. So I'm going to take just what's this, half a pencil, quarter of a pencil. Obviously, it's up to you. You can suit the size of the fly you're tying. But this material, I mean, you can trim it, you can run through it with the taperizing scissors if you've got too much of it. and I'm going to take this, and this will be like basically the length of the fly. So I'm going to come back So I just measure off the back of the hook, something like that. That'll give me a fly that's pushing towards that 5-6 inches, 12.5 to 15 centimetres. And I'm going to tie it directly on top, and I'm going to squeeze it like I'm pinching horizontally, right, to force the material to stay vertical. And I'm going to take a few wraps forward, still holding that nice and tight. And then again I'll just cut this at a taper, moisten that, set it down, let it creep forward, nice and tidy. And again I'm building that shape as I go. I don't want to be using loads of thread to build this up later. So just pick that back up. It's long enough, right? I'll just slightly taper the ends a wee bit, roughen them up. But again, I'm going to come in with the scissors anyway. I'll just put that in. Same thing. Pinch it quite tight. Get it on. 2 or 3 wraps. And then I'm just going to hold it vertically, making sure that the bunches are sitting right on top of one another. I don't want them wrapping around. Right, I'm trying to create like a, well, up my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, one on top of the other. And trim that. Now in this size of fly I'm going to use 4 bunches. I find that gives me a nice profile, a nice size, and it's not too dense. On a 4-0 I'd maybe use 5 or 6 in the blue. Now let's open this one. Just for myself, I just like to come in. Now I'm going to, the head's finely coated with UV resin, but because this material is not folded over, I don't think there's any harm in having your wee bit of cement there in between the bits of nylon. So I'm just going to take another bunch, same size. A wee bit tangled there. Just get some Velcro or a comb if you have that and just run it through. Same thing, wee bit of taper. Tie it in. Now, I don't know if you can, I don't know how well you can see that, but this one's sort of spread a wee bit. It's not went where I want it to. Just perfectly. So all I'm going to do is just go to lift it and sit it back down, and then it'll be right on top. Then I'll pinch it again and tighten the thread wraps, and that keeps. Don't too worry about what's in front, but the stuff that's coming off the back that's got to be actually in the body of the fly. Sits it right on top. Very nice. Taper that. Set that down. And it's a bit repetitive, but you get the idea, you get there. And it's, when you're not talking about it, it's fairly quick, right? You know, if you're really trying to bang the flies out, you can, these are not that long a tie. Last one. Catch it off. And I'm just going to hold this up. Just, I'm got to cut a shorter tape on this just to sort of get a wee bit more build. Again, I'm holding it up. Nice vertical. I mean, you do get a wee bit of thickness, which is ideal for imitating these types of bait fish. You know, it's not too much. It gives you that very... The silhouette when viewed from below is quite narrow, but it offers you that long, slightly deeper profile when viewed from the side, which is what the, you know, what these bait fish look like. So just come in slightly steeper on the taper there, as I say, and then just come down. Tidy all that up. So you can see, I mean, I'm sort of holding it, but the bunches, I know it's off to an angle, but you can see the bunches there. I've got like this thin, fairly thin body, but if I turn it that way, you get the nice bit of depth, which is exactly what we're looking for. And then I've just got some dark blue Superhair. I'm going to tie this in the length of the overall length. I'm lucky, I'm just going to make it. Again, I'm going to start at the front there and just pull this right up on top, keep it nice and thin. And then, that's me, I've got my back colour. I'll just tidy up the head. I've got a couple of wee slightly long hairs there, I'll just trim them away. And then just back, go up the slope, touch and turns. Build that nice head, nice and clean. Come down to the front, I'll put a couple of whip finishes on, and that's the tie-ins basically done. Tighten that right down. I'm going to take a blue marker and just come along the top of the head. I don't mind if it sort of bleeds down the sides a wee bit. I think that looks quite good. A wee bit more maybe on your side. And I think it makes a difference. I don't know, I mean, I always like to put a wee bit of red up near the front, just a wee gill. It's a work of a second, and I think it's a trigger. So I'll just take the fly out the vise, and I'll get my long scissors, if I could see them. And I'll have a wee look at this belly section, and I'm just going to kind of, this first bunch I'm going to sort of slightly try to lead the taper into the short stiff fibres, just a wee bit. And I can take these are too long on the blue there, so I'll just fade them back in a wee bit. And you know, you comb, and then just to sort of help things along, I just come in with the tips and just cut in. I'm not tapering it to a point, but I'm thinning it in the way back, so the tips are a wee bit thinner. Something like that. Right, there's no square edge. It's nicely thinned down. Now I'm going to glue on my eyes, and for the purposes of the video I'm using the eyes that's recommended in this pattern, which is doll eyes. I'm not a fan of doll eyes really for most things, but if I'm going to tie these old patterns I might as well use them. I'm using 7mm, right? On the pattern in the book's got quite a wee eye on it, but I think a slightly bigger eye is good on this pattern. To be honest, probably a mirage eye or something would be what I would really want to put on, or even just a silver tape eye or something. So I'm just getting some marine group, getting it in my bodkin, and I'm just sticking it on there, just at the back of the head there, where it goes into the joins onto the wing. And just sort of try to get the position how I like it, and then do the same on your side. And don't worry if you're a wee bit heavy handed with the goop. Here. You could use super glue if you can get the super glue I've got doesn't stick to these eyes. I mean, normally I would say don't use super glue with saltwater stuff, but because it's going to be coated with UV resin, I think that you'll get away with it. So I'm just going to get them on, give them a good squeeze, and tap that goop there in the excess with a wet finger. And then front and back, top and bottom, and there you go. Right, so that's basically it. I need to leave this 24 hours before I put the resin on. Alright, so the goop is well dry, it's shrunk down, everyone's got a good grip, and it's actually it's 36 hours since I did that, since I finished it. So I'm going to just coat the head with UV resin. I'm using thick Formula Solar Res here. I'm just going to glob it on. Don't be shy with it, get plenty. You can take a wee bit off if you need to. And because I'm using the thick resin, I'm going to need to work it a wee bit, spread it around, just so we get it nice and even. I'm going to let it be behind these eyes, just kind of coming onto the start of the Superhair. I actually need a wee bit more. These doll eyes are very fragile, so you do need to make sure they're well encased. But as I said earlier, they wouldn't be my choice of eye normally. But again, I mean, this is quite an old fly now, and probably whoever come up with it definitely didn't have access to all the different types of eyes that we've got nowadays. I mean, people don't realise what it was like back then. You often had to just make do with stuff. It wasn't really designed for us. I'm just taking my time. Drag the resin to where you want it to be. And I mean, the beauty of the thick formula is that it levels itself very well, and you've got plenty of you don't need to be in a rush if it's sagging, and like if you were using thin, it would be running all over the place. You would need to be moving the fly quite a lot faster than I am doing here. Okay. Just going to rotate that. I'm just looking to see if I see any low spots or maybe a dry bit or something. You'll see it'll just be flat, there'll be no reflection. And when I'm happy with the shape, I turn my torch on and I'm just going to pass it back and forward as I turn it, because I don't want to heat it up. Right, I've got quite a lot of resin there, so it heats up and it becomes runnier. I just want it until I get it to stop moving, and then I can properly cure it. I'm just going to keep turning it. Now, you don't have to do this, but I quite like it because, I mean, it's absolutely unnecessary, but I just like the look. You'll notice the eyes come up above the dark blue back of the head there, so what I like to actually do is come in with the same pen and darken it sort of over the top of the eyes there, and just come down. Right, and then obviously to protect that I'm going to need a coating, so I'm going to come in with a small amount of thin. Just going to run it along the top. Going to let it start to run. You can see it running. A couple of turns to even it out. Front to back. Make sure that second coat is all the way around. I mean, it bonds to itself anyway, but right, and then I'm just going to turn this again, let that level, let it get the shape that a nice sort of darts type shape. Just keep going, keep turning it, and then Stop it moving. I've got a right good curing. I mean, that second coat is actually, I mean, it's completely unnecessary. I just like having that sort of the dark back all along above the eyes and that, but it makes no difference to the fish. That's just the aesthetic thing for me. And there you go. A nice simple pattern. Tracks wonderfully. It's on a fast retrieve. You know, you like fish bite it. As I said before, although it's a balao, or supposed to be a balao, it works for a lot of any of these sort of long, thin bait fish that we have all over the world. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to give me a thumbs up below, and I'll see you for another one. Take lines, guys. Bye.